My mother used to tell me that there are two things that you should never talk about at the dinner table, and that is politics and religion. And I feel like we're going to be pissing off a lot of people today, if I'm being honest. Roe v. Wade was a legal landmark decision issued on January 22nd, 1973, in which the United States Supreme Court struck down a Texas statute banning abortion. Effectively, this legalized the procedure across the United States, which is fantastic. The court held that a woman's right to have an abortion was implicit in the right to privacy protected by the 14th Amendment of our Constitution here in the good old U.S. of A. Prior to Roe v. Wade, abortion had been illegal throughout much of the country since the late 19th century. Since the 1973 ruling, many states imposed restrictions on abortion rights. The Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade on June 24th, 2022, holding that there was no longer a federal constitutional right to an abortion. Today we're talking about Roe v. Wade. Very polarizing, very, very polarizing topic, indeed. Little context before we get into this, because look, I feel like there's going to be a lot of right-wing people that are going to be super pissed at me for supporting a woman's right to an abortion. Okay, it's just the way that I feel. A little context: I am a registered Democrat. However, I am more middle of the road than you would be surprised for. Okay, than you would expect. Okay, I have several guns. Okay, just shot rifles. I love the AR-15s. Okay, it's good stuff. I feel like you should be able to practice whichever religion that you want. When we get into like religious nationalists, that's where I get a little kind of, maybe not. But if you want to worship Jesus, Buddha, anybody, I'm completely fine with that. Do you want to know why? Because it doesn't affect me one way or the other. Okay? I'm not particularly religious. I was raised Lutheran. And I feel like if you want to practice that, that is your right. 100%. Don't tell me that I have to. Okay? I feel like abortion is the same way. I don't believe that abortion should be used as a birth control method. I really don't. I think that that's kind of fucked up to use abortion as a contraceptive when there are so many other less life-threatening, less dangerous options out there for contraception. However, I also subscribe to the thought that it's none of my fucking business, and me sitting in my house while Sally down the street gets an abortion is not going to ruin my fucking life. Okay, but some people think it does, and I will never understand this extremist way of thinking, and I know it's not everybody, right? So we want to get that out of the way too. There are extremes on both sides of the aisle. Both sides, very extreme. A little more middle of the road. I hope that if you are a little more middle of the road, even if you're a registered Republican, maybe you listen to what I have to say, and maybe you just think about it. I'm not asking you to change your mind, okay? But I will say that I believe, since this is a true crime podcast, the reason that I'm covering this topic is because this is one of the biggest true crimes to ever happen in America. So let's get into that. We're gonna break down the intro song or whatever the hell it is, the intro, and then we're just going to get right into it and start a little discussion, right? So let's do it. This is your 10-second warning to back out now. Totally Innocent is an explicit podcast full of foul language, gore, sexy details, and other gross things that might be offensive. If that sounds appealing to you, follow along. The show starts now. All right, but before we get into it, let's talk about a little bit of announcements, right? Nothing too major going on this week. We do have a new Facebook group that you can join if you want to be part of the podcast chatting. You just want to have a conversation with other like-minded folks. You can find us over at Facebook at Cancel Call Productions over there. And the group for this podcast is called We Are Totally Innocent. And you can head on over there and you can join that. We're doing video for YouTube now, which is absolutely fantastic. I love it. It's so fun. We got a little bit of a little set going on back here, and I'm loving it. I got a big poster coming to put in the background. It's fantastic. However, I don't want to ramble on for too long. You can find us over at YouTube at youtube.com/C/ or is it /? It's one of the slashes. Cancel Call Productions over there. And you can watch along as we talk about Roe v. Wade today. Fantastic. Yeah. You can head on over to totallyinnocentpodcast.com for at least another week and a half is how long until it expires. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. But any news and stuff is typically posted up over there. Probably have a better chance of finding any news if you were to just stay on the YouTube or the Facebook. Probably. For now. But we'll talk about that later. I do have a comment from last week's episode, or not last week's episode, the first episode back, the Oklahoma Girl Scout murders DNA match in current events. Episode 1 of season 2 of the podcast, where we revisited Oklahoma Girl Scout murders because we found out that Gene Leroy Hart most likely did it. And I firmly believe that he probably did. He probably did, if I'm being honest. This comment comes from Rachel Anderson, who said, and this is just constructive criticism, okay? Lord, I was really interested until the 15-minute intro. Sorry. If you do bring video and you can fit down the chit-chat in the beginning, that would be appreciated. Take care. Rachel, thank you for your comment. That was the first episode back. For a little context, we're revisiting some things, trying to get back into the swing of things, right? But it was constructive. You weren't being a dick, and I appreciate that very, very much. So yeah, we'll cut down on the chit-chat a little bit and just kind of get into some things. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the announcements. If you're on YouTube watching this right now, hit that subscribe button and let's boogie, let's party. I think so. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get into the case of Roe v. Wade here today. Again, very polarizing topic. So let us we'll just tread lightly on that one, if you will.
You shout like that, they put you in jail right away. No trial, no nothing. Journalists, we have a special jail for journalists. You're stealing, right to jail, 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 right to jail.
Abortion before Roe v. Wade, okay? And what we're looking at today is history. If anybody's new to the podcast, how it basically operates is I don't know much about, if anything, about the case that we're taking a look at, and we look at articles and we learn about it, and then I kind of just throw down some opinions. So today we're looking at history.com for the history of Roe v. Wade, and this is abortion before Roe v. Wade. Until the late 19th century, abortion was legal in the United States before quickening. And that is the point at which shit, the camera died, man. Sorry about that. Before quickening, that is the point at which a woman could first feel movements of the fetus, typically around the 4 months of pregnancy is what it says here. Some of the early regulations related to abortion were enacted in the 1820s and 1830s and dealt with the sale of dangerous drugs that women used to induce abortions at home. Spookers. Despite these regulations and the fact that the drugs sometimes proved fatal to women. So like I said, man, there's plenty of other contraceptions out there that aren't dangerous, but anyway, they continue to be advertised and sold regardless. In the late 1850s, the newly established American Medical Association began calling for the criminalization of abortion, partly in an effort to eliminate doctors' competitors, such as midwives and homeopaths. Additionally, some nativists, alarmed by the country's growing population of immigrants, were anti-abortion because they feared declining birth rates among white American-born Protestant women. So, yeah. Kind of sounds a lot like we don't want people of color here. We just want white religious babies, basically. In 1869, the Catholic Church banned abortion at any stage of pregnancy, while in 1873, Congress passed the Comstock Law, which made it illegal to distribute contraceptives and abortion-inducing drugs through the U.S. mail. By the 1880s, abortion was outlawed across most of the country. How in the shit, how did the Catholic Church have any pull over this? In 1869, the Catholic Church banned abortions at any stage of pregnancy. It's a little culty. Little culty indeed, but, it is what it is. Yeah, it's a little confusing to me how the church just decided, yeah, let's just ban it, right? And while we're at it, let's just make everybody love Jesus. Fuck you. During the 1960s, during a women's rights movement, court cases involving contraception laid the groundwork for Roe v. Wade. And in 1965, the U.S. Supreme Court struck down a law banning the distribution of birth control to married couples, ruling that the law violated their implied right to privacy under the U.S. Constitution. And in 1972, the Supreme Court struck down a law prohibiting the distribution of contraceptives to unmarried adults. So fuck the church, basically. Meanwhile, in 1970, Hawaii became the first state to legalize abortion. Yay, Hawaii. That was supposed to be clapping. Let's see. Although the law only applied to the state's residents, that same year, New York legalized abortion as well. Good on New York. There was no residency requirement on that. By the time of Roe v. Wade in 1973, abortion was also legally available in Alaska and Washington as well. So, people making steps in the right direction, if you ask me. 1969, Norma McCorvey, a Texan woman in her early 20s, sought to terminate an unwanted pregnancy. McCorvey, who had grown up in a difficult, impoverished circumstance, previously had given birth twice and given up both children for adoption. At the time of McCorvey's pregnancy in 1969, abortion was illegal in Texas, but only for the purpose of saving a woman's life. And that's a big thing, too, with the overturning of Roe v. Wade. And we'll talk about that a little bit later as well. But a lot of these states, mine included, fuck you, South Dakota, and Kristi Noem in particular, a lot of these states that had trigger laws, is what they call them, from when Roe v. Wade got overturned, basically are saying some states still have it to where if it's the life of the mother, then it's fine. But there's also loopholes, can you prove it kind of thing. But other states just outright are like, nope. There's no little things in there about saving the mother's life. We want the baby. Give me the baby. While American women with financial means could obtain abortions by traveling to other countries where the procedures was safe and legal, or pay a large fee to a U.S. doctor willing to secretly perform an abortion, those options were out of reach for McCorvey and many other women at the time as well. As a result, some women resorted to illegal, dangerous, back alley abortions. Okay, and this is one of the things that we're fucking worried about now. You take it away from people that are doing it safe and in the hospital, it's all sorts of clean. We're worried about people using fucking coat hangers and shit, brother. Like back in the day. In the 1950s and 60s, the estimated number of illegal abortions in the United States ranged from 200,000 to 1.2 million per year. Think of the lives at risk there, not just the child. Okay. And that stat was provided by the Guttmacher Institute. After trying unsuccessfully to get an illegal abortion, McCorvey was referred to Texas attorney Linda Coffey, that's a badass name, and Sarah Weddington, who were interested in challenging abortion laws in the United States. In court documents, McCorvey became known as Jane Roe instead of Jane Doe. Badass. Henry Wade in 1970. The attorneys filed a lawsuit on behalf of McCorvey and all the other women who were or might become pregnant and want to consider all options against Henry Wade, the district attorney of Dallas County, where McCorvey lived. Earlier in 1964, Wade was in the national spotlight when he prosecuted Jack Ruby, who killed Lee Harvey Oswald, the alleged assassin of President John F. Kennedy. Damn. Okay. In June 1970, a Texas district court ruled that the state's abortion ban was illegal because it violated constitutional rights to privacy. Afterward, Wade declared he'd continue to prosecute doctors who performed abortions. That sounds very reminiscent of what's going on here. We've literally been set back 50 years because of this. The case eventually was appealed in the U.S. Supreme Court. Meanwhile, McCovey gave birth and put the child up for adoption. On January 22nd, 1973, the Supreme Court, in a 7-2 decision, struck down the Texas law banning abortions, effectively legalizing the procedure nationwide. In a majority opinion written by Justice Harry Blackmun, the court declared that a woman's right to have an abortion was implicit in the right of privacy protected by the 14th Amendment. The court divided pregnancy into 3 trimesters and declared that the choice to end the pregnancy in the first trimester was solely up to the women. In the second trimester, the government could regulate abortion, although not ban it, in order to protect the mother's life and health. And in the third trimester, the state could prohibit abortions to protect a fetus. That seems fair to me. That could survive on its own outside of the womb, except when a mother's health was in danger. Okay? Norma McCovey maintained a low profile following the court's decision, but in the 1980s, she was active in the abortion rights movement. However, in the mid-1990s, after becoming friends with the head of an anti-abortion group and converting to Catholicism, she turned into a vocal opponent of the procedure. Banana bonkers to me that you and some lawyers single-handedly progressed the world, and then you just flip-flop on it, you fucking clown. Yeah. That's insane. Since Roe v. Wade, many states impose restrictions that weaken abortion rights. The Americans remain divided over support for a woman's right to choose an abortion. And not really, man. Like I'm saying, both sides of the aisle, fucking nut jobs on the far extreme sides, if I'm being honest. Right? That includes the left liberal snowflakes. That includes the right crazy Trumpers. Right? I don't have a problem with any of y'all motherfuckers. I'm just saying. It's a polarizing topic. But when it was polled before the Supreme Court decided to overturn this, it was something like 70% of Americans were like, no, that's pretty fucking stupid. And that also included a hefty amount of Republican voters as well. So I don't think it's left or right, black and white. Oh, drop the fucking bars, dude. We're just... I was going to press a button, but I don't know what I was going to do. So Roe v. Wade overturned in 2022. The nation's highest court deliberated on Dobbs versus Jackson's Women's Health Organization, which regarded the constitutionality of a Mississippi law banning most abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy. Lower courts had ruled the law was unconstitutional under Roe v. Wade. Under Roe, states had been prohibited from banning abortions before around 23 weeks. When a fetus is considered able to survive outside the woman's womb is when they were like, okay, now we can't, whatever. And in its decision, the Supreme Court ruled 6-3 in favor of Mississippi law and overturned Roe after nearly 50 years of precedent. And that is a extreme misguided and terrible thing. Okay, so also looking at Bloomberg today, because the big thing here is that this isn't just abortion rights, okay? We're talking about a group of old people who don't know shit about fuck and are absolute nut jobs, okay? The Supreme Court right now, gather in their chambers, and this is a clear recording of what they talk about. Okay? Does that not fucking freak you out, bro? The U.S. Supreme Court's decision in ending the right to abortion established by Roe v. Wade in 1973 has put other hard-won rights at risk, including the rights to same-sex marriage and contraception. Tomorrow is August 7th, because I'm recording these in advance because we got some vacay coming up. Super excited for that. But on August 7th, a good friend of mine at the card shop, I go into the card shop every Thursday night and I play some trading card games with the boys. One of the guys that works there, his name is John. He's an amazing man. He's so nice. One of the greatest guys you'll ever meet. He's getting married tomorrow to the man of his dreams. And we have this shit going on. Like, how does this affect you, brother? I don't get it. I don't get it. Yeah, so this is putting other hard-won rights at risk, including the rights to same-sex marriage and contraception, even, bro. So people were talking about, I don't think abortion should be used as contraception. But now they just want to ban contraception potentially, outright. I'll tell you what it is. Okay, and this is my tinfoil hat on. I've talked this with my wife a little bit. There's not many babies being born. Me and my wife don't have kids. Up to this point in our life, don't really want them, at least not right now. We love our freedom, and I like money. So why not get rid of abortion, get rid of contraception, so you can't fiddle around and have fun, thus spawning a new workforce. Brilliant. Get this man an award in a parade. Crazy. The level of risk depends on which opinion that you read. However, the majority ruling written by Justice Samuel Alito said nothing in this opinion should be understood to cast doubt on precedents that do not concern abortion. I'm going to call bullshit on that one. But Justice Clarence Thomas, piece of shit that he is in a concurring opinion, made it clear that the future cases could curtail other rights not clearly addressed by the Constitution's 18th century framers. And I don't know if this is the guy or not, man. And maybe we'll have to look it up and figure it out. But there was somebody, I'm pretty sure, in the Supreme Court that was talking about, oh yeah, let's overturn contraception. Let's do this. Let's do this. Gay marriage. Nope, not anymore. Let's also ban interracial marriage. And then he was like, oh wait, my wife's black. Never mind. Let's not do that. The thought process on some of these idiots is hilarious. We should consider all of the court's substantive due process precedents, including Griswold, Lawrence, and Obergefell, Thomas said, referring to the landmark Supreme Court rulings that legalize contraception, same-sex intercourse, and same-sex marriage. You're going to ban 2 women and 2 dudes from fucking? I mean, come on, bro. What? How does this affect you? How does this affect you if Steve and Terry down the fucking street just want to bang one out and I'm in my basement recording a podcast? How the fuck does that affect me? It literally doesn't. It affects you 0, brother. Oh man, all those decisions established rights that were not explicitly enumerated in the Bill of Rights. Who the fuck cares? It's called progress, okay? The Bill of Rights was drafted so fucking long ago, dude. Like, it's 2022, brother. It really is. The dissenting justices said that Alito's guarantee cannot be taken at face value, and that Thomas's opinion is a clear warning. After all, they said the right to terminate a pregnancy arose from the right to privacy established by the contraception ruling, which led more recently to expanded LGBTQ rights. Because the problem is that white America doesn't want to acknowledge the LGBTQ community. They don't want to acknowledge the Latino and Spanish-speaking community. They don't want to acknowledge the African Americans. And anything that potentially, or women, they don't even want to fucking acknowledge women, dog. It's bananas. The whole country is just fucking clown horns, dog. It's so stupid. No one should be confident that this majority is done with its work, Liberal Justice Stephen Breyer, Sonia Sotomayor, and Elena Kagan wrote in their dissent. The other rights now at risk are all part of the same constitutional fabric protecting autonomous decision-making over the most personal of life decisions. Now, that's what I'm talking about, dude. This is government regulation over a human body, and it's not just abortion anymore. If you're going to regulate, Steve and Philip, what they do with their bodies, we're going back to the fucking Stone Age. We're going to start stoning people in the streets, sending out fucking mobs, torch and pitchforks. Might as well get rid of electricity while we're at it. It's a little hard to take Alito at his word, and he's the guy that said, no, there's nothing that would, I mean, come on. Like, as long as it's not about abortion, we don't care, right? And it's a little hard to take Alito at his word. That what was issued today doesn't foretell danger for those other protected rights because the analysis he used undercuts most of the modern constitutional jurisprudence, whatever the fuck that is. Pizer said, it's shockingly retrograde and mistaken way to read the Constitution. Thomas's opinion is a rally cry for conservatives to start challenging same-sex marriage. Now, look, man, why do you got to call out the conservatives like this? Here's the problem. We're talking to each other like this. It's yeah, I know it's a rallying cry for the fucking conservatives. What? Stop. Let's all just be people. For the conservatives to start challenging same-sex marriage almost immediately, said Roberta Kaplan, the lawyer who argued the landmark Supreme Court case that overturned part of the Defense of Marriage Act, resulting in the federal government recognition of such unions. Kaplan said that challenges would likely start with local officials refusing to grant marriage certificates to same-sex couples based on religious objections, okay? And this is something that I have a problem with, okay? You want to pray to Jay? Big old J-man, Jesus in the sky, that's fine, okay? But I don't have to, because you do. Just because you do doesn't mean that I do, okay? And I'll die on that hill any day of the fucking week. Just because it's against your religion doesn't mean that it's against their religion. Or if they're not practicing religion, you can think that people are going to go to hell because something is in the Bible. It's not. Spoiler alert, you're all going to fucking hell anyway if you eat shellfish, have tattoos, wear two different kinds of fabric on the same fucking piece of clothing, you stupid fucks, man. Now it's getting a little polarizing, okay? I don't mean to be so fucking rude. The problem is that I have met atheists with hearts of gold, and I have met Christians who are just the scummiest people on the fucking planet. And I know not everybody's like that, okay? I know not everybody is like that, but it's a bummer that this is where we're at with said things. Yeah. Kaplan said that the challenges would start, local officials refusing. Okay, yep. Kentucky clerk Kim Davis, you remember this bitch, briefly became a conservative darling in 2015 for trying to do exactly that. In other words, we're going to see dozens of future Kim Davises, which is not what we want. Nobody wants that. Yeah. Bananas. The dissenting justices signaled similar concerns about extracting the right to abortion from other personal freedoms. The majority tells everyone not to worry, they wrote. It can, so it says, neatly extract the rights to choose from the constitutional edifice without affecting any associated rights. Think of someone telling you that the Jenga tower simply will not collapse when a brick is pulled out, is how it's described here. Jeffrey R. Stone, a constitutional law professor at the University of Chicago, agrees that challenges to other rights could happen soon, though he said it's far from certain that the Supreme Court will overturn them. I think they're less likely to overturn those decisions because they don't feel the same degree of popular opposition to those decisions as existed with at least 30 to 40% of Americans with respect to abortion. So let me ask you this, okay? Basically, in South Dakota, in our last voting, right? Well, two vote, the big one last year, 54%, maybe even more than that, of registered voters, we're talking right and left, voted to make recreational marijuana legal in the state. Fantastic, right? We got booze. Why not let the people smoke the reefer? Who gives a shit? Certainly don't. However, our governor, Kristi Noem, decided, oh, she don't like that. She didn't like that. So she sued the state, basically, and was like, yeah, no, South Dakota's not ready for this. Y'all don't want this. Even though we definitely have majority. And then she tried to change the law. Get this shit. Then she tried to change the law for this last election that was basically like, oh, how about we need at least 60% to be able to pass laws? What do you guys think? You think it's good? Fucking clown. And this is the same thing here. Okay, popular opposition to those decisions has existed with at least 30 to 40% of American people with respects to abortion. 30% leaves 70% of the American population saying, maybe it's none of my fucking business. Maybe we leave it alone. Maybe when a woman has an ectopic pregnancy and is gonna fucking die unless she gets an abortion, and we have to is it protected? Is it okay? And then she dies? Maybe that's a fucking problem. Maybe that's a problem. But they certainly don't see it that way. These are the same people that think Joe Biden, and let me be fucking clear, I'm not a fan of Joe Biden. I really wish he would give me my $10,000 student loan recovery package, though. If he wanted to do that, I wouldn't be opposed to knocking $10K off my student loans. I'd be, hey, Joe, hit me up. We can have a conversation. These are the same people, though, that say Joe Biden is solely responsible for the gas prices in the United States, knowing, or maybe not knowing, damn well, that gas is 2 times that price in the UK. What, did Joe Biden just call the fucking prime minister and was like, hey, I fucked up over here. Could you guys also raise your gas prices by a fuck ton of money? Like, it's just, the thought process, the logic is just extremes, brother. And I don't want to offend anybody, right? Unless you are on the far left or the far right spectrum, fuck yourself, because I really don't care. That's just how I feel about it. But yeah, man, it's a scary thing, right? And this isn't really like a case, right? I mean, it's a case. When it comes to the podcast, this isn't like a normal episode where we're talking about a case, right? Like the case of Gabby Petito, the case of the Oklahoma Girl Scouts murders. It's not. This is more of an opinion-based ramble on, okay? Kind of looking at where Roe v. Wade come from and what the potential outcomes are of overturning that shit. Because I think it's extremely, extremely dangerous for these men and women, potentially, to have that much power. Good news is that, President Biden, for whatever it's worth, is trying to, do some executive actions to make sure that women can't be prosecuted for going to states that do still allow abortions, what we call blue states. Why don't we just call them states? So they can't be prosecuted by their state when they come back. And, the state's like, hey, did you get an abortion? And then you can actually be like, yes. And they can't do shit. But yeah, this is the overturning of almost 70 years. Is that what they said? 70 years of precedence? No, almost 50 years of precedence. Whatever, man. It's dangerous. Man and woman go out, get too drunk, make a mistake, have a child, or get pregnant. Should that be contraception? Should abortion be contraception? No, I don't think so. Do I think it's murder? No, I don't. Not until a certain point. There's no sentience there. But it's just, I don't know. And I don't even know how I'm going to post this episode, to be honest, because it is quite polarizing and I have very strong opinions about it. As contraception, no. To save the life of the mother, 100% fuck yes, dude. And also, just because I don't think it should be used as contraception, if Jane thinks that it should be used as contraception, fuck me, dude. What? How does it affect me? What is it going to affect the gas prices? Is that what's going on next? Is that what you're going to tell me? Yeah, I just don't understand flipping the script on this is crazy. In the 21st century, polls of Americans' opinions about abortion indicated that they were about equally divided. Several organizations, among them Gallup, Pew Research Center, Harris Insight Analytics, conduct abortion or Roe v. Wade related polls regarding the Roe decision as a whole. More Americans supported it than supported overturning it. So that's exactly what I said. More people supported Roe v. Wade than overturning Roe v. Wade. And that kind of goes back to our state, our governor deciding they wanted to sue the state because a majority of voters, adults, by the way, she didn't like the decision that was made. So if you're telling me 60 to 70% of Americans are like, maybe we should just keep Roe v. Wade intact, and they flip the script on that, who cares about that 30 or 40%? They're the minority. This is supposed to be a democracy, is it not? Even if I don't like it, right? Even if I'm you, and if you don't like it, and I'm you, and I don't like it, and I hate it, and it's against my religion, it's against what God wants, it's a human life, a heartbeat. As soon as it has a heartbeat, it is a human life. It's sentient. It knows exactly what's going on there, although you don't form memories until you're like 3, 4 fucking years old, maybe even later than that. So are you sentient? It doesn't matter. I'm rambling now. But I hate it, right? If I'm in that 30, 40%, that's not democracy. If I'm the one pushing for it and you listen to me, that's not democracy. That's a dictatorship, 1,000%. Wow, yeah, that's insane. On 2021, an ABC News Washington Post poll found that 58% of those with children living in the home wanted to see Roe v. Wade upheld, not overturned. That was in 2021. Compared to 62% of those with children at home, an altogether poll found that only 36 with children living in the house opposed the Texas Heartbeat Act, compared to 54.9% without children. After the Supreme Court's decision in June 2022 to overturn Roe v. Wade, a CBC News YouGov's poll showed that 60% disapprove of the decision, and of women polled, 67%, and that includes both Republican and Democrat women. According to the same poll, 52% of the participants called the court's decision a step backwards for America, and 31% said it was a step forward. If I'm in that 31%, fuck me, dog. That ain't fucking democracy. That's garbage. Absolutely garbage. I'd be curious to know your thoughts. If you want to leave a comment in the YouTubes or send an email over to cancelcallproduction@gmail.com. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to upload this. This is a very polarizing topic, very controversial topic, and I could be shooting myself in the foot for this. I just want everybody to know, contextually, middle-of-the-road Democrat. Okay? I love my AR-15, brother. I want to go out there and shoot it every day. Doesn't necessarily mean I want to go shoot people, right? I got a handgun. I got a carry. I got a concealed carry permit. And everybody asks me, why are you a Democrat, bro? Why are you a Democrat? Because you support that stuff. And it's like, that's not what that means, bro. It's just, you're allowed to support things on both sides of the aisle, dog. You are. You just are. You are. You are. And if you don't think so, I got a bridge in the middle of the country to sell you. If you want it. Super cheap, too. You can come find me on that. But it is. It's a huge step backwards. Again, super polarizing. I'm super into guns. I'm super into freedoms for everybody, right? If you want to support whatever you want to support, it don't affect me, man. If Sally and Linda want to lick each other's private parts, who the fuck am I, dog? You know what I mean? I don't get it. I don't get it. Illegal immigration, I'm against it, bro. Like it's just because you're registered at something doesn't mean you can't support other things. Okay, and I think in the last 5 years, it sure as fuck, seems like a lot of people forgot that. Seems like everybody wants to fight each other and nobody wants to just be friends anymore, dude. I align myself with people on both sides, both parties, man. I got great friends on both sides. And you want to know why? They're not fucking nuts. They're not nuts. They're not crazy. Anyways, I love everybody who tuned in and listened this far. Absolutely great. This is a little bit shorter episode, 40 minutes right now. Hope you guys enjoyed it. But yeah, again, send an email over to cancelcultproductions@gmail.com or leave a comment in the YouTube comment box if this episode gets posted. And we can have a conversation. You can head on over to facebook.com and search for the group We Are Totally Innocent and have a conversation over there as well. And you can go like the page Cancel Cult Productions over there on Facebook as well. Yeah, fantastic. What should we do? What should we do to leave it? Should we read something else here? Let's see. In the case of Tiffany Cole, Sherry says the monsters should have been buried alive like they did to the Sumners. And that's accurate. That is accurate. It's crazy. It's crazy. Oh, yeah, Gypsy Rose got married. What the fuck, dude? I forgot about that. My wife told me about that. And I want to maybe we'll revisit Gypsy Rose, right? If anybody's still listening after the Roe v. Wade episode, let's go revisit Gypsy Rose. Anyway, I'm just rambling now. It's just crazy. Everything's goofy. I love everybody, regardless of your political or religious affiliations. Anybody that tunes into the show, I love you very much. Unless you're one of the crazies, then I don't really want you listening, to be honest. You probably left a long time ago. So anybody still here, thank you so much. I don't know who we're going to do next week, but we're going to do somebody giggity and should have my poster up on the wall for the video. So that should be pretty sweet. Yeah, I will talk to you guys next Wednesday. Until then, you take care.